All right, welcome back to Good Vibes, Martin Falls with Debbie Cox DeNova. She is our transformation coach. Today we're talking about building courage. Welcome, Debbie. Good to see you.
Welcome. Thank you.
On the topic, I'm thinking about the cowardly lion on The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I'll beat you with two hands behind my back. Courage.
Courage.
And, well, I guess they were teaching us a lesson back then. Mm-hmm. He had no courage.
Yeah.
But by the end of the show, he had an overabundance of courage.
That's it, yes. And this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I am a life coach and I work with so many people, and I cannot tell you how often the problem just stems from fear. Right? And so having courage, and in most unlikely places, we talked about procrastination last week and how this is actually a freeze response in the amygdala. So even in you putting things off, while you may not have a direct and strong, powerful fear response, recognizing that it requires courage to actually get past your procrastination. It requires courage for you to be honest with yourself and self-reflective when you're actually the one getting in your own way. There are so many areas where fear stops people from living full out. And this information comes from Mel Robinson, and she is the author of the 5-second rule, and that's what we're going to talk about today, because this is a strategy that is super simple, not saying it's easy, but it's super simple to employ to get you past your fear. And so, and we've talked—
5 seconds?
The 5-second rule,
All
yes,
right, cool.
Okay. So we want to make sure, first of all, we need to understand that the odds of us being here are— the science has actually put it at 1 in 400 trillion.
The lottery.
Yeah, lottery. You won the lottery just by being here. So we didn't come here just to sit around and do that. Every single one of us has heart-inspired guidance that's trying to come through. There's that thing that wants to happen through us. And most of us are not living into it. We talked about the deathbed regrets. Most people are making it all the way through their lives without following through. So we want to make sure that we understand your odds of being here are 1 in 400 trillion. Live your life. Live your life and get past your fear. And hopefully this episode will help people to understand how to do that. Okay, so here we are. You have a fear response. We've talked about this before. The fear response in the body physiologically is the same as this excitement, okay? You've got the sweaty palms. There is like this heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes more shallow. In a sense, your body is becoming agitated in preparation for something that's about to happen, all right? The only difference between excitement and fear is what your brain is, the narration that your brain is giving this. So imagine you're standing in line, two people standing in line for a roller coaster. They're both feeling the same thing, heart rate going. One person is going, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to do it. It's going to be so much fun. And the other person is like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, right? So it's a narrative that they're telling themselves. It's really exciting that these two experiences have the same physiological response in the body, because what it means is that all you have to do is change the narrative. Now, you've heard a lot, and Susan Jeffers wrote a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. A lot of people find it very difficult to feel the fear and do it anyway. Like, how do I do it? I'm just literally stopped. Or you've heard about positive thinking. And both of these approaches don't necessarily work quite effectively, because really what's happening is that we talked about the amygdala, which is the fear detection center of the brain, and the prefrontal cortex, which is the more sophisticated part of your brain that does the analyzing. I don't know if you remember the conversation about the PFC and the amygdala seesaw. So if your amygdala is going fight or flight, it's heated up here. It's like a seesaw. It pulls your prefrontal cortex down, and that's why whenever you're in a fear state, you almost don't recognize yourself sometimes. Or an anger state, when you're agitated and the seat of emotion is high, the analyzing part of your brain comes down, and you're almost like you're animalistic. And afterward, when your prefrontal cortex is back online and the amygdala is cooled down, because it's a seesaw, you go, why did I do that? Why did I say that? I can't believe I did that. It's almost like this, okay? So the name of the game is that when the amygdala is fired up, is to get this PFC back online. So you can't just force yourself to do it, because there's literally stops in place to keep you from risk going on in your body. Everything, all the lights are going off. We need to first cool down the PFC. So that's where the 5-second rule comes in. Literally what you're going to do is count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then take action. you have to take action right at the 1. So it's basically you pushing yourself. This is why, you know, as someone who's been an athlete most of your life, how powerful a coach is, pushing you, moving you, right? An outside force. This is you coaching yourself. So what you're doing in the 5-second rule, counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, is you're creating a disruption, first of all, to the energetic state that you're in, all right? You are actually causing yourself to switch modes. And then most importantly, you are lighting up your prefrontal cortex. So you're telling yourself, okay, it's time to do something different now. You don't want to give too much space after that last countdown for the amygdala to fire back up again. So you need to move. So whatever it is, if we're talking about procrastination, if you're having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning so that you can go exercise, you just, oh, I just feel so good. Like your body and your brain are avoiding the discomfort of coming out.
Right.
You go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, throw the covers and you move, okay? In that process, and it's very important, you are lowering down that fear response, that freeze response, and you're instructing yourself, it's time to get out of bed. You're coaching yourself.
No, that's cool, because I've always told people, especially young students when they come interview me, like Nichols Journalism, will come interview me and go, God, tell me about it. How did you get here? How did you do that? Just do it.
Yeah.
Like the Nike slogan.
Exactly.
Just do it.
Yeah.
If you're thinking too much, you're thinking yourself right out of the deal.
That's it.
Just do it.
Yes. And this is a great way to put yourself back online.
The 5-second rule you gave us in the first part, that's incredible. Because if you sit there and keep looking at that roller coaster, you're going to be eating cotton candy in about 15 seconds behind the roller coaster because you're not getting on it.
That's it. The longer you stand there, the more you reinforce in your brain and body that it's the right decision not to do it. You increase the risk, and that's the irony of avoiding something. You get that temporary relief, but what you're doing is actually making the fear of what you are actually supposed to be doing even bigger, right? So the pushing the fear away doesn't make it go away. It actually feeds it. It actually makes it bigger for you. So it's coming to peace with, first of all, that fear is a thing. That's a part of the human experience. We talked about Elizabeth Gilbert talking about how the only people that she knows of who doesn't have fear are toddlers and sociopaths, and she doesn't want to model her life after either one of them, right?
Right.
So fear is a good thing, and especially if you're someone who's creative. When you're a creative and you're putting yourself out there, when you talk about creative, we're talking about productions that you put together, books that you write, businesses, a nonprofit that you want to put together. Anything creative comes with fear. And it's that fear of exposing it to the public and having it being rejected, and there is this identity that you put with the thing that you've created, like if it is not well received, then I must have a lower value, or I'll be abandoned and rejected, and it goes back to all these traumas. So that's just all to say that fear is a normal process of living, and you're not going to get to it by attacking the fear or pushing the fear away. You will actually make it bigger, and that's science.
But if your fear is failure, failure is a part. My little nephew sat me down with cameras one day. He had a project at school. And he said, Uncle Mark, you've never failed at anything, have you? I went, where do you want me to start? They just don't see the failures.
That's exactly right.
I know what they were. But most people don't see it because I keep running through them.
That's exactly right. So you create a new relationship to failure, right? We already know that people who are bulletproof to the experience of failure just know it's part of the process. They don't make it mean something about them. It means I'm training and getting better and better. And then because they have that bulletproofness to falling down, they get to fly at some point in time because they keep moving, right? So that's really what we're doing, because what happens is as you have successes, and you can only have successes if you're willing to fail, right? As you have successes, you prove to your nervous system, we did it and we didn't die. We did it and we didn't die. Now you're creating this sort of pathway for yourself, a neuro pathway for yourself, where it's like, okay, I am capable. I am the type of person who is capable of trying, failing, and at some point succeeding, because I don't give up. Okay? So if you can think of something, whether it's flying on a plane, you can think about like how limiting it is. If you can't fly on a plane, you want to go travel the world, but you are scared of flying, or giving a public speech, and you have something important to say. Let's say that you can't go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and then just jump on stage, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and then get on the plane, right? Let's say that it's a fear response that happens on the plane. So you're going to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but you want to pick an anchor thought. And you want the anchor thought to be relevant to what you're actually doing. So, for example, if I'm giving a speech, my anchor thought might be the feeling afterward of walking off stage and going, oh, I did it. it. Or I might think about calling my friend and going, I can't believe I just did that. I did a great job. So that might be the anchor thought that I'm using to get me through the process. If you're flying on a plane, thinking about it landing safely, and you taking your breath and going, nothing happened. Usually nothing happens, right?
The wheels are on the ground.
The wheels are on the ground, right? And calling your friend, and guess what? I just flew on a plane, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. And it will not be as bad as you think the next time. We talked about your elevator thing, right?
Yeah.
You get back on the elevator, and now you're creating
I'd have
immediately.
been all right if the cable hadn't popped.
But you're creating that new association again. You want to make sure that the fear association isn't the last thing that you leave in your impressions,
Sure.
right? So you create the anchor thought, and then after, so you would do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm feeling nervous. I'm gonna get on stage, and oh my gosh, I'm panicking, and I want to run away at this point, right? I'm dissociating from my body. I count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My PFC is lit, my prefrontal cortex is lit up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I introduce the anchor thought. So if you're writing notes at home, the 5-second rule followed by the anchor thought, which is relevant to what you're actually doing. I think about me getting off stage and going, oh, it's gonna be so good. And then you start telling yourself, I'm so excited, because you still have that agitation in the body, right? I'm so excited. I'm so excited that I finally get to overcome this and stand on stage. I'm so excited that I get to share this information with so many people. I'm so excited that I actually get to visit my Aunt Betty in California because I'm getting on this plane. I'm so excited. So you're basically introducing thoughts to your brain, and your brain will literally go, oh, Martin's excited. Because the agitation is in the body, and the messaging in the brain is there to match that. And that's, you're psyching yourself up. You're basically psyching yourself up. And there's a lot of research on how powerful that can be as well.
And what I tell people is, they say, man, I'm so scared to public speak, or I'm scared to come on your show. I said, well, go through a little rehearsal. Get in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
The old thing which I used to do before speech classes, and do the whole speech.
Yes.
And then once you got it, you go, let's go.
Yeah, you've done it before.
Yeah.
So now your brain isn't putting those stops because it's not as risky. You've already done it, right?
Right.
So the other
And
thing
have
is
fun.
And have fun. The other thing is, if you're panicking, like I'm on the set with Martin, if I'm panicking, you can put your heart, what Mel Robbins calls a high five to the heart. You put your hand on your heart literally, and you press. So what you're doing is pressing on the vagus nerve, the Queen of Peace, and that helps to elicit the, go from the sympathetic response to the parasympathetic response, which is rest and digest. And you literally tell yourself, within yourself, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm totally okay. Right? So that's easy. High five the heart, press the vagus nerve, breathe, and go, I'm doing fine. I'm okay.
That all-important vagus nerve.
All important vagus nerve.
If I only had a brain.
Go do something brave.
Hey, great topic. Good seeing you again. Can't wait till the next one.
Yes.
All right. Get in front of the mirror. Start practicing. We'll see you next week.